All right, greetings. Welcome back to Blackburn News, where everything is connected. How are you all doing? Good to see you. Thought I would start on time today. Thank you for being here. Those of you who are here on time. Yeah, it was like a roller coaster in the last 24 hours around the funding freeze. A lot of people were very nervous about um, having the funding cut for particular program. People who are in education and all kinds of things. People who relied on government funding for their programs were facing down a funding freeze that was supposed to happen last night at 5 p.m. However, a judge blocked it yesterday, and then this morning it was rescinded. So just like that, funding freeze over. Um, I'm not trying to downplay the severity of some of the things Trump is trying to do. I understand, like, for a lot of people these things are obviously it's a major deal if you run a program or are in a program and it's facing being shut down. um, if you are here illegally and you are trying to work or live or send money home to your family or whatever, I there's lots of people have different views on that, of course. um, I think people should be given a pathway to citizenship. I don't necessarily think that people should just be deported. However, I think all people should be taken care of, period. People who are citizens here and people who are trying to come here to get citizenship. And, um, I think it's fair to ask people to follow a process. Um, I don't think that's crazy, but, then again, I don't think like deporting people back to dangerous situations or situations where, life threatening situations, I don't think that's helpful either. So, um, anyways, all of that is to say, I'm not trying to downplay any of the concerns people have. However, I think a lot of what Trump is doing is bluster. And like yesterday kind of proved that out somewhat. Um, yeah, yeah, befuddle them with BS. Yeah. By the way, we're live on Rumble, YouTube, Rockfin, the usual places. We'll probably, uh, we may or may not sign off of YouTube later for a couple minutes. I don't know. I don't know. Um, but this, I saw a really good post somewhere saying like, don't fall for the bluster this time. Good words, right? And during Trump's last presidency, everybody paid attention to like what he tweeted and things that he, said on a mic, which may or may not be real or true, and didn't actually look at the things he was doing. Did not actually look at his policies or didn't look at you know, the underlying intention or current of what was going on. And I think that's really good advice, right? Like, again, yes, people are concerned about these very extreme kind of policies that he's putting forward. My guess is most of this stuff will die away, will be blocked, um, or rescinded as the funding freeze was yesterday. Right? He'll push it out there and go like, "Oh, whoopsie, no, I don't want to do that." Um, so there's going to be a lot of that, and again, my attempt is not to downplay the feelings people are feeling around it, but I just think most of it is a bunch of bluster. Um, Most likely distraction for other things that are happening. Like what watch the policy, watch the policies, watch the things that he actually really tries to push through. Um, the things that make it through the first 3 months of his presidency, I think, are things that are going to be things you want to watch, right? Because he's going to do a bunch of shock and awe and a bunch of like, I just remember his last presidency. There was, yeah, the first couple of weeks, maybe the first month or two, people were like, "Oh my God, this is just insane. What's going on?" Eventually, most of it just faded away. Most of it died out, and uh, people went on to focus on other things. Right. In the end, Obama, deported more people than Trump did. So what does that tell you? That tells you that he wasn't that serious about the policy of deporting people. Not as serious as Obama was, right? Which underscores and underlies, my premise that the whole thing about immigration, the whole issue isn't what they intend. It's just meant to get people riled up and scared and freaked out and like pissed off and angry at each other. It, they actually, both sides support immigration and support the the effect that eventually immigration has on suppressing wages. They both sides support that. They both play for the same team. The team is corporatocracy. The team is, how do we screw over the workers and enrich ourselves? Both teams play for that for that master, that ruler. And so therefore, the whole issue about immigration is is one that's just meant to inflame, and it's a horse that they like to flog every 4 years, so that everybody gets all like, oh, up in their feels about it. They don't care. They're not intending to do anything that they say about it. Really, most of it is um, a political cudgel that they like to whack over people's heads every couple of years. I just watch, try to look at things through a macro lens. Zoom out, zoom way out, and see what's really going on. Right, see the overall trend over time. What's really happening? What's really happening? Unions have less power. Wages are not keeping up with the cost of living. More homeless people than ever. People are barely hanging on. Right, inflation is going crazy. Uh, People have less faith in the system. Um, that's the macro. Anyways, mm. Gene Whitworth says, "I see the borders themselves as the problem. The global elite don't recognize them, so puts the rest of us at a huge disadvantage." Yeah, and that's one way that to look at it. That's one way. Are you guys good on YouTube? Is everybody cool on YouTube? Just wondering. Um, if you were, if your intentions were to protect your citizens and their rights and their right to a fair wage and the right to you know all the protections that the government could offer its citizens, you would have some kind of fair and logical process to immigration, right? And but you're right, Gene, absolutely right. They don't they don't recognize borders. They don't care about borders. That's the reality. So it doesn't matter Trump or Biden or Obama or any, they don't care. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care about you. They're only using the people that are trying to get here as political pawns, and it's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible on both sides. It's horrible for Trump to do it. It's horrible for Obama to do it. It's horrible for everyone. The way that everyone gets treated. Anyways, whatever happened to the dreamers? Anyways, I guess I see that YouTube is up to its old tricks. All right. So that happened. We'll look at the funding freeze rescindication. Look at this for a second. Trump rescinds the order. So, just like that, it's over. Can I get to the actual? Can I get to this actual article? According to Reuters, a White House official confirmed the order had been rescinded. The news comes one day after the federal judge temporarily halted the funding process. And that's it. Done and done. Yeah, I think that most of what Trump is trying to do is misdirect, and that's what he does, is misdirect people. With these shock and awe policies to make people kind of like, put people on their toes, make people, get people riled up, angry, upset, confused. It's very effective. But just like anything else, I mean, any other kind of like emergency type things that the government does, right? And most of it are really good reasons for distraction, right? People get distracted over these kinds of things and aren't really paying attention to the other things that are going on. Anyways, speaking of which, from James Lee, this is something that is happening under the Trump administration, that, while people are talking about funding freezes and people being deported, they're not really looking at this part. Many distractions, but pay attention to this one, folks. Are you ready for pre-crime? Because DARPA just announced their initiative. So they're apparently going to use AI to round people up on pre-crime. You know how effective AI is at recognizing your healthcare needs and denying your claim, right, from United Healthcare. You know how accurate they are at looking at people's faces and identifying the real. Anyways, here we go.
Are you ready for pre-crime? The Department of Defense just announced their new DARPA program, the Anticipatory and Adaptive Anti-Money Laundering Initiative, A3ML. This program claims it will revolutionize how we detect and prevent money laundering using cutting-edge technologies. So what does it actually mean? A3ML aims to identify suspicious financial activity before it becomes harmful. It will use predictive analytics, real-time monitoring, advanced machine learning, and AI systems to achieve this. DARPA plans to collaborate with government agencies, financial institutions, and technology companies to gather data and information. If you're thinking, but I don't commit financial crimes, think again. This isn't just about criminals. This is a government surveillance program that will comb through all financial transactions, targeting individuals before a crime is even committed. Sound familiar? This is literally the beginning of a Minority Report style pre-crime system. There are huge concerns here. One, ethical concerns. How do you prevent false positives? Imagine being flagged for a crime that hasn't happened. Or two, surveillance issues. This is a direct infringement on your right to financial privacy. Three, reliance on AI. What data is being used to train these systems? What biases might be built in? Are we really comfortable with trading our privacy for untested AI predictions? Should a machine decide who might commit a crime? Because today it's about money laundering, tomorrow.
So, I mean, most likely how this is going to play out is that you'll just be blocked from certain transactions, right? Maybe you want to sell some crypto, or maybe you want to move some crypto around, or maybe you want to transfer money from one account to another account. And most likely, how this will play out is that you will be blocked from the transaction, and they're going to be like, just like signing into a web page, um, or doing anything online, where you try to do something and it goes, sorry, that attempt failed, or um, could not complete your request, or timed out, or didn't happen. Right? You just won't be able to do it, and you might not be able to find anybody to talk to about it. Right? And so, um, that's most likely how it's going to play out. And I feel like that's already happening in some cases. Uh, I mean, a lot of crypto exchanges and trading platforms have been blocked in the U.S. During the Biden administration. They were all open during the last Trump administration and during COVID. But when the Biden administration came in, they started blocking all these, and even taking them to court. Binance and other crypto exchanges. I think they were threatening Coinbase as well. Um, under the guise of, like, your guys are doing improper things with the money and you're money laundering or whatever. Um, but most of that is a way. It was a way to crack on the crypto industry. And Trump is supposed to be like the crypto president, but I haven't seen any of these exchanges come back. We'll see if they do. Um, I can actually look at one of them right now. Um, I haven't seen them come back. Yep, no, this one still blocked in the United States. So we'll see. We'll see whether he is actually crypto friendly or not, or whether they, continue to take down crypto exchanges, crypto trading platforms, even the ability to transact, on certain platforms. The what Web3 developments. Right now you can transact through your wallets, using like Web3 and other kind of DeFi apps. We'll see if those stay up and stay running. I don't know. I kind of think I kind of doubt it. I mean, I'm hoping that Trump is crypto friendly, but I don't see him rolling back the things that the Biden administration put in place. But maybe. Yeah, I saw that, Scott. Kroger is working with Microsoft on facial recognition, so that different shoppers will pay different prices based on what. That's interesting. I mean, they do that anyways, right? If you're white and you go into a store that caters to people that predominantly do not speak English, it might be Asian, might be Latino. You get a different price. You know that. So there there is already pricing based on what you look like. That totally happens. That totally happens. Probably less nowadays than it used to, but um, I don't know if anybody remembers the lady the food connoisseur lady on Instagram, or Twitter or something, that was going up into the Bronx to go get sandwiches, and she was like, "Oh, these are delicious and so cheap." They started charging, like, right after that. They were like, when don't put the prices on the board and charge the white people you know, different prices. But I don't know. I don't know what they're going to base the pricing system on like what, what your facial features say about you. I don't know. Who knows? This guy can definitely afford it. This guy looks rich. We're gonna charge him double. Uh, all right, let's keep going. So RFK had a big confirmation hearing today. Oh, before we get to RFK, let's look at this. Also, one other thing on the Trump land is that he offered. I don't know what to think about this myself. So it's also weird because some of the stuff Trump is doing is like kind of could seem to make sense or could be logical um to a lot of people, right? Not if you're just somebody that just hates Trump and everything that he does, then like you're not going to be able to think through anything that he's saying. So like, you know, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to tell you. Um, or if you're a Democrat and you love everything that Biden does, and then you're not thinking through the actual, some of the things they're doing. Um, anyways, like putting forth RFK Jr. to, do some logical, common sense health initiatives, like that makes sense to almost everybody, right? Um, and if you want to look at how vociferously or the Democrats, rejected RFK Jr. and called him all kinds of names and said he is a lunatic whack job, right? Okay, so if the Democrats care about you, if the Democrats are the nice guys, or you know they are so inclusive and they care about all the people and they care about equity and listening, but the guy that's trying to help people be healthy and just say, hey, like let's just use like logic, and let's we have brains and we can think, and like let's just do logical brain stuff. Like they just flat out denied him any platform whatsoever, and shut down you know anybody who aligned with him. um you know in cases like that, you could say that the Democrats are just as you know just illogical and ugly as say the Trump administration can be, like completely out of their minds. Right, like absolutely, positively, most likely corrupt. you know the reasons behind their actions being corruption, but out of their minds and completely, not aligning with anything called science or logic or welfare or helping people or including other people's voices. Like they would not do that. And so, I just, it's interesting. And so, Trump pushing forward this agenda, whether it's real or not, or whether it's, you know, ultimate intentions are good, whether that's, it's all smoke and mirrors or not, at least he's like platforming some kind of, you know, thing that people can connect with, like on a logical level. Like this makes sense to me. I don't want to eat crap in my food. I don't want to, I don't want to take bad medicine. I don't want, bad things pushed on me. I want healthy food and healthy, so like all that stuff is like stuff that Democrats and liberals should be all over, right? They should absolutely, oh, we care about climate change and the earth and the planet and like healthy things. And like they should be embracing this with open arms, but they won't do it. Why? Because absolutely bought and paid for, to the extent that they can't even like acknowledge RFK being logical, you know, making sense. which puts them in a bad position, makes them look like not the good guys. So I don't know. Um, so I don't know. RFK said a lot of like logical things today, and you know, and the people and the questions and the people questioning him looked positively deranged for their questions. Like they looked absolutely deranged. This is not a good look for the Democrats at all because RFK Jr. had a huge platform today and put forward a whole bunch of things that almost, unanimously people are like, "Oh, I really like that." You know, I really, if you can't hear his words and go like, "Oh, I align with that." Like, I don't know what's wrong with you. Like, you must be like, way out on a ideological limb that you can not crawl back from to in order to use your brain and go like, "Well, okay, that makes sense." It's just so this is whether he intends to do this or not, this makes Trump at least look like to a lot of people like he's doing common sense kind of things. I don't know. Anyways, but he offered buyouts to U.S. federal workers, and I don't know where y'all stand on this or what you think about this. Um, Government Employees Union says pressures career workers to quit and will cause chaos in federal program. I mean, listen, I don't, I wish that they would start with Congress and just like say, how about, we just, I don't know why we don't do snap elections. Like, I wish we could, or wish we would. I wish there was a way to not, to get rid of these, creatures that are in, I, but, so they're not starting with Congress or the Senate, which I feel like let's start at the top and work on down. But like, I don't know, there seems to be a lot of, you know, sure, the federal government, you know, works in some ways, doesn't work in other ways. Um, I could see, I could see how people would feel really threatened by this. But he's offering a buyout. He's not like saying you're fired. He's just like, you want to take this money and move on. I don't know. Other people might say that this could be, good for just getting like new blood or new people and new thoughts, people that are not like just taking their working their federal jobs and working for the pension and doing as little as possible and maybe not even really trying that hard, you know. Maybe it might be good to see these people, go. But he's not forcing anybody out. He's offering them buyouts. I don't know. I don't see how this is I don't know. I don't see how this is like really a horrible thing. I mean, somebody tell me why this is horrible. He's offering a buyout. You could say no. And so I don't know. Is it a terrible, terrible thing to do? You wanted to yell at the senators, Judy Truitt? Yeah. I mean, there was, yeah, I just, Elizabeth Warren and like all of them was like, oh my God. It didn't make them look good. They look bad. They looked bad. Whether he gets confirmed or not, they just look like demons. And RFK Jr. looks like the patron saint of just common sense and logic, right? Like he just, you know, anyways. Somebody tell me why this is a terrible thing. Like this is a horrible thing. I don't know. He's offering people money to move on. I don't know. I don't know why it's super bad, but Yeah. Social Security is already horribly understaffed. I mean, do you think people that cared about their job or that really, thought that their job was important, do you think they would take the offer? Or do you think they'd hang around? I don't know. Global says people have played the system for decades, using government office space for a second job. And I've heard, I hear stories, and I'm sure people have different experiences, right, with government agencies, right? I know for a fact there are lots of people out there that are just like, these people are corrupt, they're crooks. I'm sure other people have other experiences. Like, they were just nice, really nice people trying to help me. You know, I feel like this is my experience with any entity whatsoever. Government agency or or corporation, right? When you go to seek help, you almost immediately run into like three people that don't know what the F is going on. Like, they don't know anything about anything, can't help you, total assholes. And then you find the person who's like, oh yeah, totally. Like, that's simple. Like, let me go, boop, 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 boop. And then they give you what you wanted. And you go, oh, I just needed to find the right person. So 1 in 4 can actually do their job. And the other three don't need to be there. And they're just taking up space and taking money for something that they obviously can't do correctly. So, if that's the case for government workers, maybe it's a good thing if they move on. The people that know what they're doing and think that they can help and want to be there, maybe they'll stay. I don't know. Sometimes you find that person right away, the helpful person. Sometimes that person answers the phone immediately and they're like, "Hi, how can I help you?" And you're like, that was so great. But most of the time, no. Anyways, um, all right. So let's look at a couple of the scenes from RFK. I'm sorry if this is painful for anybody. Sorry if it's painful. Senator asks, "Are you a conspiracy theorist?" Which is like, "Are you a conspiracy theorist?" Like, the question itself is knuckle draggingly stupid, but whatever.
Are you a conspiracy theorist?
Who are you?
That is a pejorative, Senator, that's applied to me, mainly to keep me from asking difficult questions.
And one thing, let me, I don't care if you hate his voice, but let's acknowledge that RFK Jr. is like a public figure that can like put together like well thought out sentences and put together whole ideas and like form. He's like just so logical and so his ideas are so well put together. Like, I just appreciate hearing somebody who can like communicate in a way that's like, oh, I feel like my level of consciousness is raising just by listening to this dude speak, because other people, you just feel like, oh my god. All right, anyways.
A powerful interest. I was told that I was a conspiracy theorist. That label was applied to me because I said that the vaccines, the COVID vaccine, didn't prevent transmission and it wouldn't prevent infection, when the government was telling people, Americans, that it would. I was saying that because I was looking at the monkey studies in May of 2020. I was called a conspiracy. Now everybody admits it. I was called a conspiracy theorist because I said red dye caused cancer. And now FDA has acknowledged that and banned it. I was called a conspiracy theorist because I said fluoride lowered IQ. Last week, JAMA published a meta-review of 87 studies saying that there's a direct inverse correlation between IQ loss.
All right. So I'm going to assume
I
a
could
lot
go
of
He's
on
all
for
right.
about a week.
Stop
Is there
proving
any
me
one of
wrong.
them that you can say you got?
Stop proving. No, is there a case where you're not wrong, RFK? Now we know you're right all the time. It's so stupid. What an idiot.
That really was a conspiracy theory, or are you in a
Not yet.
position?
This guy is like a child in a suit. Somebody put a suit on a child and called him a senator or what, you know. All right. Great. Great. Here he is talking about food. By the way, RFK had a line of people trying to get in to watch the hearing. Very popular. And when he was done, he had like a huge ovation from the crowd. Let's watch this part. I'm not saying he's perfect. You know, he has issues. But, you know, on all this stuff, he just makes complete and utter sense, you know.
We can now not export American food to Europe because the Europeans won't take our food. That's not good for farmers. We're also destroying our soil because some of the chemicals that farmers use destroy the microbiome, and that causes the erosion of the soil. You can't get water infiltration. Water pools up and it washes the soil off. Agronomists now estimate that we only have, if we continue doing these processes, only 60 harvests left before our soil is gone. Farmers are using seeds and chemicals that are over the long term are costing them and us. And what we need to do is we need to support the farmers. We need the farmers as partners if we're going to make them work. And I don't want a single farmer to go out of business under our watch. I don't regulate farms. If I'm privileged to be confirmed, I'm not regulating farms. That's under USDA. But I want to partner with all of my decisions with USDA and with the farm community to make sure that we don't lose more farmers in this country, but that we also transition. We offer and incentivize transitions to regenerative agriculture, to no-till agriculture, and to less chemically intensive. And by the way, I've also met with the chemical industry and the fertilizer and herbicide companies, and they want to do the same thing. Oh, and I think we're on the trajectory to do that, and we need to incentivize initiatives to accelerate that trajectory.
I don't see what the issue is with that. What he's saying right there. Yeah, I know a lot of people don't like his stance on Israel, which is there's nothing to like there. It's also just beyond like weird to me, but I still don't get it. I don't get that part. Part of me doesn't even believe that he believes that, but you know, that's probably that might be giving him too much credit. Anyways, this is his opening. I'm not going to play the whole thing. It's long, but we'll play a little bit of his opening statement, which is solid.
I'm humbled to be sitting here today as President Trump's nominee, oversee the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. I want to thank President Trump for entrusting me to deliver on his promise to make America healthy again. I also want to thank Cheryl and Kik and Bobby and all of my other children who are here today, and all the many members of my large extended family for the love that they have so generously shared. Ours has always been a family that has been involved in public service, and I look forward to continuing that tradition. My journey into the issue of health began with my career as an environmental attorney, working with hunters and fishermen and mothers in the small town in the Hudson Valley and along the Hudson River, I learned very early on that human health and environmental injuries are intertwined. The same chemicals that kill fish make people sick also. Today, Americans' overall health is in grievous condition. Over 70% of adults and a third of children are overweight or obese. Diabetes is 10 times more prevalent than it was during the 1960s. Cancer among young people is rising by 1 or 2% a year. Autoimmune diseases, neurodevelopmental disorders, Alzheimer's, asthma, ADHD, depression, addiction, and a host of other physical and mental health conditions are all on the rise, some of them exponentially. The United States has worse health than any other developed nation, yet we spend more on healthcare, at least double, and in some cases triple, as other countries.
Okay, I'm gonna play, just in the service of time, I'm gonna play one more clip from RFK, and then we'll move on. Yes, I know some people don't like RFK. I get it. I understand. It's okay. I don't, again, like, I just think that what he's saying on these particular subjects, I don't think he's currently a heroin junkie, Rich. I think he was at one time, which, you know, I was once a crack addict long ago, 23 years ago. I was an alcoholic and a crack addict, so I am recovering. So he's not, I mean, that's, I don't know. I feel like that's I don't know. So he doesn't talk or act or present like he's currently a junkie. So I don't think that's not really fair to, like, as far as the Predator stuff, I don't know. I've heard weird things. I'm not sure. Not cool if that is true. I don't, but the Kennedy family is historically very weird when it comes to their partners. He is, I'm just saying the work he is doing as far as trying to clean up food and, drawing attention to, environmental causes and health causes, I think is worthy. I think what he's saying is worthy. Maybe he's not worthy personally as a person. I don't know. You can judge that for yourself. But the things he's talking about, I think, are important. And I think what he's saying about them are correct. The things he's saying are correct. That's, the only reason why I'm playing all this. He is a very intelligent guy too. I mean, there's no doubt about it that he's an incredibly intelligent, insightful person. He might have other character flaws, I'm sure. So, and this is absolutely, positively a common sense thing to say.
When I launched my campaign, it was about uniting Americans, Democrats and Republicans. There's no issue that should unite us more than this chronic health epidemic. There's no such thing as Republican children or Democratic children. These are our kids. 66% of them are damaged. I know what a healthy kid looks like because I had so many of them in my family. I didn't know anybody with a food allergy growing up, peanut allergy. Why do 5 of my kids have allergies? Why are we seeing these explosions in diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, neurological diseases, depression, all of these things that are related to toxics in the environment? Why can't we just agree with each other to put differences about so many issues, intractable issues aside, and say, we're going to end this? I don't think anybody is going to be able to do this like I have because of my peculiar experience, because I've litigated against these agencies. When you litigate against them, you get a PhD in corporate capture and how to unravel it. I've written 6 books about these agencies. I know a lot about them, and I know how to fix it. And there's nobody who will fix it the way that I do, because I'm not scared of vested interest. I don't care. I'm not here because I want a position or a job. I have a very good life and a happy family. This is something I don't need. I want to do this because we're going to fix it.
Okay. Yeah, he's cool. And he's also probably the most yoked, almost 70-year-old lawyer you're bound to meet. Is he or what is he, 71? No. Yeah, I think he's 71. All right. Yeah, I get it. If you have questions about his character, those are all fair questions. But I just think that the work he's doing in this area, I think is important, and I think he doesn't, he's putting himself out there. He's putting himself like in the line of fire, to fight these things. So, and his books are pretty damn good. Okay.